Watch and learn, baby.
Hello everyone, Gene Molina here, Natural Tennis Solutions. All right, so we are back. We're going to do another, not leg stretch, we're going to do another serve stretch. So another stretch with the serve. We already went over the lat and obliques. We went over the core. So now we're going to bring in the legs. It is said that the legs are the main power source of the serve, which I disagree with. Now, it is the main power source of where the leg power, of where the serve power starts from, but let's get to it and I'll show you what this is, and then you can tell for yourself whether you feel that the legs are the major power source for the serve. So we'll start with just what we're going to call the toes. So the toes become a major part of getting the legs to stretch in what I'm going to show you here. So if I get my toes to go to a specific setup, this is how I'm going to stretch what I want you to stretch in this serve. So I'm going to go and I'm going to get into this position right here. So if you can see, I'm getting on my toes. I'm actually getting on my toes. And my body's doing a specific movement to keep me balanced and not let me fall and lose some of my balance. So I go on my toes, and that's it. So now the finishing part of that would be, from that position, I need to make all of my kinetic chain coming up go in each progressive segment. So every segment of my body from down there needs to come up. But what am I really stretching? I am stretching, when I do the toes, I'm stretching my quads. My quads are getting stretched. So you know how you stretch your quad by doing this? That is pretty much what I'm doing here. I'm doing that, and that actually stretches my quads, and it gets them ready to fire up. Now here's the hardest part. So the way I teach this in the beginning is I make my students stand straight like this, and then I make them get on their toes, but they have to push their knees out. But first you want to wind it up. So we kind of go in first this way so that you can push the knees out and get on the toes. My lower back stays straight. Everything stays straight from the back up. So I go and I get straight. If you have lower back issues, this may hurt you. So you may want to go into a small piece of this. So you might have to modify this to the point where you just go into a small bit of toes and that's it. And if you can't do this because it's hurting something, then just don't do it. The pros do this because this maximizes some of their power, but as an amateur, we don't need to do it. We don't need to do it. But if it helps you, that's good. And keep your body up. You can't get injured with this stuff. So I go into toes and that's it. Now the second part I would teach is I go into toes and then I push out with my upper body. But I'm pushing out with my upper body from the bottom. So I get the toes and then I push out with my head. It's almost like you throw a soccer ball when you're throwing in from the sideline. The practice for this will be that. Keep the feet together like this. Get the toes to go and feel that the quads are getting a little bit stretched. From that, you progressively work your way up. I call this kind of like that dance move, the worm. Someone on the ground and they're doing that type of movement. So my body from the bottom up wants to create a wave. There's a wave coming up through my body when I do this. So I go down and then I create a wave that comes up through my body. That wave will go up through my body and up through my arm, and that is one of the major power sources of the serve. So the arm becomes the major power source because at the end it all comes down to that. But you start it off from the bottom. So the longer you can make this wave go to the end, the more powerful it is. If I only started my serve and I only started it with my arm and I just tossed this ball up and went like this, it's it's not going to be as powerful as if I start the wave from down there, get the toes to do this, get all of this to go up and into my arm. That's what's going to create the power that I need. So let me do a few sample swings, show you guys what it's supposed to look like. And I also implore you to go look at some pro serves to look at the similarities of all of them, and they all do the toes. There's not one of them that I've seen that does not do the toes. They load their quads, stretching them that way with the toes, and then they bring up that kinetic chain going up through the body. Okay, let's do a few of these from the back view. I will now serve, put this all together. I really haven't warmed up, but what can we do? Whoa. Technical difficulties here with the mic. All right, cut, cut. Okay, I was having a bit of a mic issue. It was flopping around everywhere. Let's see what we got. So, made some, missed some, that's fine. That's how it should go. If you focus on one thing, which is we're focusing on the toes and getting the stretch in the quads, don't worry about where the ball is going as much. When you work on something, just remember, you want to focus on the task, which is feeling what we talked about. Feel the toes, feel the quad stretch, progressively make the kinetic chain go up through your body so that it goes all the way up into your arm. I still need to go over a few things as far as how all of this comes up together and goes into this arm, but this will lead to effortless power if you can do it loosely, calmly, and use the elastic energy that I'm showing you here, which is from the quads. So the toes stretch the quads, and then everything comes up from there. Practice it without hitting if you need to. It takes some time to master this. All right, so subscribe, like, share, and I will see you on the next one.